class.
Hi, this is Cielo and Haley, and we are at the Mount Auburn Cemetery right now.
And we're just going to be explaining some of our observations, what we've noticed while walking throughout the cemetery, and kind of how that connects to what we're learning in class.
So I think that one of the first observations we had was really just how beautiful and serene this whole place is. I mean, what we're looking at right now is like a lake, and that's surrounded by a series of trees and shrubs that really makes this place feel very peaceful, considering the fact that it is inherently a cemetery.
It paints a picture that's like warm and welcoming, which we're not really used to when we talk about the concept of death. We usually think it's very morbid and like dull, but this definitely gives us an outlook that makes us appreciate death a little bit more, as weird as it sounds. But yeah,
we really didn't get any sense of like fear or forebodingness or anything like that. When we walked in, it felt almost like a park, like somewhere that people would want to be. And we also recognize that there's a lot of staff that are like actively cleaning and maintaining this place to make sure that it's at the state that it is.
So as we mentioned, here are people hard at work because it's amazing. And also noticing like some of the graves that we passed by, how they kind of like the architecture of them, and just how each tombstone kind of has its own individual look to it, which could kind of correlate to, you know, a religion or a culture. We've seen some graves that have like saints monumented on top of them, which could connect to Catholicism or a religion that has saints of their own. It's just really cool to see the diverse kind of collection of tombstones here.
Yeah, as Yellow was saying, they have a lot of character. It's not just like a series of tombstones with people's names on them. A lot of the times they have like spheres or like crosses or sometimes even like animals on them, which makes it super interesting and distinguishes them from each other. Another interesting fact is how the tombs are oriented. So we recognize that a lot of them are grouped in by families. And so there's like a whole little plot, like a section that's allocated towards one family. And a lot of the times, I think, like the oldest ancestor that had passed away, he has a larger tombstone. And then behind that, you see a series of smaller tombstones that are dedicated towards the other members of the family that passed away at other points.
We also took into account that may be the reason why we're not seeing a lot of flowers by the tombstones, because normally, I mean, where everybody is ideally from, you'll normally take live flowers to pay your respects to the tombstones. But we don't see that a lot here. It's normally planted by the graves, but I think it just symbolizes that, you know, maybe a family tree has ended. You know, there aren't extended relatives that come and give them flowers because there aren't any. So, yeah, that's also something we noticed.
Yeah, and like although there aren't like those bouquets of flowers, there are the occasional like planted flowers, like actual plants by the graveyard. So perhaps that's, you know, a way for some people to show respect to those who have passed before them. The landscape and the orientation of this graveyard is very inherently just peaceful and welcoming almost. And also, like, as we're filming this right now, we see like people walking around and kind of just like enjoying themselves and like observing what there is. We haven't really seen anyone like sitting by a tombstone or like, you know, visiting someone that they knew, but it almost looks like there's a series of like tourists here who are here with similar purposes like ourselves, just trying to learn and explore.
Yeah, and soak it all in. But to answer the question about whether there are any zombies here, I don't think there are. There are definitely no zombies here. That was one of the questions I remembered. That is what we observed in Mount Auburn Cemetery. Yes. And throughout the video, I'll just show like clips of what we've seen, just like really cool pictures of the nature and yeah, the views here.
Yeah, really pretty.